Welcome to another episode of the Back Catalogue podcast. This is the podcast where we, and by we I mean me, Apple, my co-host / co-founder Vincent, we dive into the streaming service. We tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth it and what is not. And sometimes I say this is the podcast where we, and I realize as I'm saying it in my mind, this is the podcast where we have fun. Because today's a bit of fun, man. You know, we've come here, we're in good spirits. We had some pizza as we arrived. I mean, this is a day for just positive energies.
Are you saying that because you're about to rip into this movie and you're just going to get heated and you just got to remind yourself that like we just have fun here. We just have fun.
And like we might talk about a moment like that on the Patreon after dark.
We might. I mean, we will.
Yeah.
We will. So there's a 7-day free trial if you want to do that. And realistically, you can listen to every single thing we've put on the Patreon, and there's hours. Like there's 2 hours. No, there's probably, I don't know, 15 to 20 hours of content, I'd say.
We've done like, how many episodes have we done now? We've probably done like 60 episodes, right?
Anyway, you can do
lots.
it. There's not enough hours in 7 days that you can't watch them all or listen to them all. So like, you know, you can get it done, but you need to work. You need to work for that.
And you put them on while you're sleeping, you're still listening. Your brain is still working. And here's the thing that I want to talk about brains.
And if people say you put Mozart on when your kid's sleeping, and they'll become smarter. Yeah. If you put the back catalogue on when your kid's sleeping, bro, they'll turn it off.
Dude, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. But here's the thing: I found out the other day Mozart dead, and that made me sad. But we're going to get into 2016's very own Train to Busan.
Bro, R.I.P. Mozart.
R.I.P. bro. I found out the other day. And I was sad because I was like listening. I was like, he hasn't got any new hits yet.
Bro, this is a banger.
But I searched up Mozart 2023 and like nothing new came out. And I looked at his back catalogue. I realised like, man's just stopped. I realised it was due to death. But look, this has got the 7.6 out of 10 on the IMDb. It's got the 94% on the Rotten Tomatoes. Had a budget of 8.5 million and it made 98.5 million.
8.5 million.
I mean, we're talking shoestring budgets here.
See, I mean, 8.5 million, that's a lot of zeros.
It is a lot of zeros, but we're in comparison, and life is subjective, right?
It's all relative. I mean, Einstein said, bro, can you just look up Einstein real quick? Because like, he better not be dead as well.
I've seen him in Oppenheimer, though.
You seen him in Oppenheimer?
I've seen him in Oppenheimer. He's still going because he was in Oppenheimer.
And they ain't closed Heimer yet, so like he should still be around.
Dude, I mean, he's a theoretical physicist, is all I'm saying.
So theoretically, he could still be alive.
I mean, man's dead, New Jersey.
Yeah, but theoretically.
I mean, theoretically, like, time is relative.
Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that point. Oh, I'm just saying, relatively, that's a minor budget. But $8.5 million, that's money.
That is money. Like for a guy like me and a guy like you, it might not be. But for other people in the community, like the average folk, it's money, dude. That's real money.
When we make a movie or a documentary about a movie or a found footage film about a documentary about a movie, it might be like 8.5 mil.
Look, these things are happening is all I'm saying. This is just in the works. Come to the back catalogue after dark and you'll figure that out. Come to the Patreon. I'm going to jump into the synopsis, then we'll jump into this. The one thing I'm going to say off the bat is this is called Train to Busan. This is a Korean film. We may mess up some names here, so we apologize in advance. And I say that in advance because like Seok Woo is the first part of this, but that's how I'm going to pronounce his name. And his daughter are on a train to Busan on the latter's birthday to see his wife. So his daughter's birthday. However, the journey turns into a nightmare when they are trapped amidst a zombie outbreak in South Korea. And we're here. I don't know if you can hear that on the pod, but
No, they can hear that.
We got ambulances out there.
We got ambulance.
Well, we got sirens. And that's what this movie sort of is all about. It's just sirens all the way through. It's what I want to talk about is I say this a lot that there's two portions of a movie, or there's certain portions of a movie, which makes sense because there's first, second, and third acts. And you throw in a fourth act, like people will be like, where did this come from? This movie, I feel, is very much split into two parts. And when I say two parts, I don't mean two specific acts, but I mean it's split into a heartfelt family drama and split into zombies on a train.
Are you saying half of the movie was zombies, half of the movie was heartfelt? Or you're saying they were the two, that was the duality of Train to Busan?
It was the duality of Train to Busan, and I feel one did something better than the other did.
Okay, so the way you pitched that was as if...
Like there was two parts, like it was just heartfelt at the start and then like
and
zombies
then
ripping hearts out.
And then it was heartfelt. Yeah, okay.
So I yes, you're right. It's the duality of Train to Busan is what we're trying to get at.
Because you started that off and I actually thought you were going to say like, hey, it shouldn't have been called Train to Busan. It could have been like, it should have been called Car, then Train, then like another train, then they're running, and then like a freight train, and then they're walking to Busan.
And then like maybe they get shot. I don't think they do though. Here's the thing. I feel that this movie, for the first 20 minutes, you know, they're setting the scene. They're getting you into it. I, for the life of me, could not sit with any of these characters and be like in the first 20 minutes, which, you know, this is a time where you're meant to, as we know from Plane, first 20 minutes is when you're doing all the what's the
exposition.
The exposition. See, I just ate pizza, so my brain is a bit slower.
Yeah.
And it's all relative. But this is when you're doing the exposition. And this is when you're getting to know the characters. You might be getting to love the characters, maybe a little bit, because the movie will help you love them even more. But I feel that this 20 minutes, I wish I had skipped it. And that is coming from a man who has seen this movie before.
Because you'd already seen it.
Because I'd seen this 3 times at this point now. I feel everything other than the zombies is not interesting or exciting or even remotely not enthralling. What's that? I can't think of words today.
You're just not interested.
I wasn't interested.
You weren't interested. You were just interested in zombies on a train.
To Busan. Specifically
to Busan.
And like it wasn't initially Busan, but that was the only place open.
Well, that's where the train was going to.
That's where they were. Yeah, that's right. They were going there to meet up with the daughter's wife, because it's a story about a father and a daughter who have been in many ways estranged, but not because they're separated, but because of the father's work.
And we're here.
And I mean, like, you know, they're at different parts of the carriage at one point, but at one point in the movie, they're also at different parts of their life. You know what I mean? And that's another "and we're here" moment.
And, you know, in the train of life, like, we're all going to Busan.
I think that the first 20 minutes of this movie, obviously it sets up the scene, it does all those sorts of things. But once this movie gets a zombie on the train, this movie doesn't stop till it gets to Busan.
That's when it starts. That's when the movie starts for you.
Yeah, dude. And I don't know if you had that same experience being the first time that you have watched this movie.
This is the first time. And this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a while because I'm a fan of zombies.
Yes.
Or the zombie genre. And yeah, I've always heard that this is a good movie. I had no issue with the exposition. Like they can exposit me for 30 minutes if they need to.
And if they did it for 30 minutes, you'd be there sitting there enthralled.
I'd be there. If the dad, you know, he got her a Wii console and she's looking at that, which was hilarious. She's looking at the one on her mantelpiece, like, hey, my guy.
Look,
if he came out and was like, oh man, and then got a PlayStation 3. And then she looks at the other side of her bench, and there's a PlayStation 3 there.
Yeah, and he's just pulling out all the consoles.
He's just pulling out and she's just looking, and there's console everywhere. There's just consoles.
He's a man that is about his money.
And then, let me just continue this bit because I feel like this might come to a climax here. And then he buys her a handheld. He buys her a 3DS XL. She just pulls it out of her pocket.
Damn, and that'd be a bit.
And then just smacks him in the face with it.
Like if you put Train to Busan on SNL. Like Train to Busan came out, then next week SNL came out, that would be the bit.
Yeah.
He's a man that's about his money. He's obviously spending a lot of time trying to make a lot of money. He's going to know if he's bought him a Wii. Or
no,
maybe he's getting...
It's probably not him that bought the Wii.
He's probably getting the managers, the assistants to buy the Wiis or someone else.
Yeah, but also I don't think he bought the Wii.
Maybe the Wii was a present.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And I mean, you know, this really shows where you are as a father if you haven't even set up a Me account on your child's Wii. Like if you haven't got your own Me, like looking like you, and you're playing Wii Sports with your character, you ain't really looking after your child or hanging out with them at least.
No, because if you got a Wii, you need a Me.
And we're here. So tell me when you were leading into this movie. You're a man that goes into a movie without looking at nothing. You just go in.
Nothing.
You know that people have said they enjoyed it, but you just gone in knowing that this is a train that goes to Busan.
This is a train that goes to Busan. I mean, it gets into it pretty. I did like the starting clip where the dude was, he was going into wherever he needed to go and thinking like, hey, it's quarantine again. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then he hits the deer and the deer just gets up.
See, when I saw that deer initially when watching this movie, and you see it come up and it's like his tongue's hanging out and it's like one eye's like looking left and the other eye's looking right, which is pretty normal on a deer, but like you see those eyes are blue, then you start to think maybe this is normal.
Yeah.
I was like, man, we haven't started off well touching it on like this weirdly computer generated face of a deer.
See, I thought it looked good to me.
Well, I mean, maybe they practically like had the tongue sticking out.
I mean, it looked good to me.
It looked good.
It looked good to me, and I like that because the dude was looking at the deer, and then he just straight away was like, "Bro, my fender's he messed it up."
I mean, it was a bender. Hey, if you're having a fender bender, you haven't started your day off well.
Yeah. So then, I mean, they ramp up pretty good. It's you get right into it. They exposit for a few minutes, and then we're on a train. And let me tell you, when you're in a train of that, and there's four, two seats on either side of the aisles. You look at that when you're in there and you're going, there's room here. Like I can move around. But when there's heads in there, like you can't move, and that is intense.
Yeah.
And I think zombies in tight spaces is like a name some, but it's that meme that like I don't know, no one did it better than like these two or something like peanut butter and jelly.
Right.
I don't know.
You're saying zombies in tight spaces. No one's done it better.
No, I'm saying that's it. They go together like peanut butter and jelly.
That's exactly right. No,
Yeah.
100%.
I was thinking of that, that meme that like swept the internet for a good 2.5 weeks.
What, like when LeBron James said like, "Here go two more for y'all"?
Nah, LeBron would never. It was something like name a better duo. I'll wait. That's the one.
That's
the one.
Name a more iconic duo. I'll wait.
That's the one. And then zombies in tight spaces.
Yeah. Absolutely. This movie, I'm going to say, I talked down on the heartfelt drama aspect of this movie, where it's the relationship between the father and the daughter, and I'll get back into that in the back end of this movie. But when this movie zombies is zombies, man.
Yeah.
And these are some terrifying zombies.
You have to applaud the actors that were the zombies.
Dude, if I had notes, I would have written that down, because these people contort themselves.
I've watched a lot of zombie stuff. I haven't seen them done it. No one's done it better.
I mean, this is Cirque du Soleil style of like, there's a man with like his leg is somehow in front of his face while he's on the ground, and then he stands upright, about face, turns, goes and eats somebody.
Nah, they got it right, and they close up on some of the zombies, and you're right. The zombie parts of this film is unreal. Is really good.
The great part of this movie is that it's not very long. It's
2 hours.
Is it 2 hours?
2 hours.
Maybe it's a thrill ride. Like, you're on the train to Busan, you see the sides.
That's right.
Am I here?
Because you look out the window and it's like, it's not. There's things happening.
Yeah.
That's a thrill. That's a short ride in your mind.
In your mind, that's right. This movie felt a lot shorter than it was because I'm in there. I'm with these people now.
Yeah.
And
when you're tense, when you're tense and you're not sure what's going on, and you're on the edge of your seat, you're always going to think it's not as long because there's not as many drawn out monologues and things like that. It was just, most of this movie was just action.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie is a blockbuster. It is a movie that was presented to the Korean public as being like, this is our hitter. This is our big thing.
And that's why they had the baseball team in there.
That's why they had the baseball team. With my guy from Parasite. I don't know if you've seen Parasite.
I haven't seen Parasite. That is a movie that I do want to see.
I mean, we might do this next week, but probably not, because like there's themes in that and we can't touch on themes.
We can always touch on themes. We just don't do it very well.
One of the great things about this movie, and we talked about this in the past, especially in regards to The Last of Us, is that it does take those moments of, those lulls to just give you a sense of security before it throws you back into the heat of the battle.
Yeah.
And what this movie does is it separates at times the zombies from the people between carriages. The threat is still there, but it's somewhat neutralized, that you can go, I'm going to take a breath. We're about to get to the station. I can't remember what the middle station was.
Dagon or something.
So it did start with a D. I mean, I could search it up. Like I got access to the internet here.
We don't have time.
You get there and you're thinking, okay, like they're going to go into this quarantine zone. Like, things are going to be good, and then it ramps up again. And this movie does a really good job of exponentially ramping up.
Yeah, you see, you think you're in safety, and then. You see the characters looking around and they're going, hold on, what's going on here? And then you see little shots and there's things that look like it's safe.
Yeah.
Like when the guy that's, the disheveled looking dude, he's there with hedge manager and the father and the daughter, and they've been told, hey, go east. Go to the east gate and, my men will hook you up because he's got connections or whatever. And then you see an army guy in the distance. And you're like, oh, this is good.
We got army people here.
We've got army people. And, when you see an army people in this kind of situation, you're thinking like that's safety.
Yeah.
Because they could shoot you and that's safe.
Because at least you die from the bullet, not from the bites.
That's right. The bullets and not from the bites. And then, you change to the other characters and they're looking and he's looking around and he's going, hold on. Because you can see the army dudes, but like they ain't looking right.
You see an army dude, if they're not about face, they're not, yelling at a person for like getting too close to them. If they're just standing there all ramped together and sort of shaking about, you're thinking something's not right here.
Yeah. And so then, everyone's basically the whole place is zombies and it kicks off again.
It kicks off again. And it exponentially kicks off where it's like, we have this group of people who were once together who are now misplaced in all these different spaces.
Yeah.
And then you build relationships through those spaces, which, I mean, if we talk about action in this movie does it well. We talked about how the zombies looked, which is the way that they interact with the space, the way that they're flying over chairs.
Oh, man.
Over like through windows, just crashing through, falling onto a train. One dude falls out of a building onto the train and smacks onto the ground. He's running his arm and his foot are like in different directions because he's broken. These people do it well. But then the action in regards to there's a scene after what Vinny said with the army in which they've split up and there's the three guys that are in the back of the train and they essentially have to get to the front to find their family.
Yeah, because they get back on the train because the train driver and respect to the train driver in this situation. Because he's just like, we got to go. Yeah. In every place where they've realised, hey, it's not safe here. It's like, we're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep going. And, he started the train and they're running after the train. And you've got, people now separated in different parts of the train with zombies in certain carriages. And they got to go around and they're like taping up their arms and they're ready to fight.
Well, yeah. So they get split up into the three, the father. And then this dude who I could spend a whole podcast talking about this guy.
Yeah.
Because he was from the Eternals.
Yes, that's where I've seen him.
So I'm going to get his name up because I'm going to put some respect on this.
Yeah, he was top tier.
So he was from the Eternals and I can't remember what his name was in the Eternals.
I can't remember any of the names.
We'll get into this. Dong-seok. That is his name. He played someone in the Eternals. But He's the guy who is Angelina Jolie's partner in the Eternals, for those who have watched that movie. Which, I mean...
He's a dude that's in Australia and he's just cooking.
He's in Australia.
He's just cooking.
Gilgamesh is his name in the Eternals.
Jeez.
This dude is a built guy. He's a big boy, right? He's been eating, he's been lifting, right? He's been doing all those things that make you big. There's a scene where it's him, the father, and then the guy from Parasite, who is also a baseball player. They're in the back. Let's just say they're in the back carriage and they got to get to their family and their friends who are many carriages in front of them.
Yeah, and there's about 3 or 4 carriages of zombies in between them and their family. And then there's a few more carriages between their families and then the rest of the survivors, where there's this one businessman that's, I mean, he just wants
his own life to be saved.
So he's all for one and one for all. He's just some for me.
Which, I mean, is a great thing in this movie because it shows you what the father could become.
Well, I mean, whatever. He was my favorite character.
the guy,
because it was just like, at one point he just goes, "No, they're infected. They're infected. Like, put them away." And everyone's just like, "Well,
He's making the rules.
He's making the rules, and he's just cowardly.
I mean, he is the COO of, I think, the train line, potentially. He's the COO of something.
Was he?
Yeah.
I thought he was just a passenger.
No. He's a man's that was, unless he was just saying to people
I think
like,
he
hey,
was
I'm
there
the
at the
COO.
Nah, that's a different person.
That's the guy that says, hey, look, I'm the COO. Like, I'm chief. I'm him.
I thought he was on this train from the start. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, there's the three dudes at the back, and there's this one scene which I would consider as one of the most, and it's not even that it's, there's all those, that you look at The Matrix, you see the scene in which he's getting all his weapons, he's putting on his suit, those suit up sort of scenes. I would say that this is one of the most iconic suit up scenes, like we're about to go into a battle ever. And it's not iconic because there's things flying, they're grabbing shields, they're whatever. They're just standing there. They're wrapping their arms up because they're like, if we're going to get bitten, they're going to bite these wraps.
Yeah.
They're getting whatever weapons or things they can.
No.
And the train is...
Gilgamesh has just got his fists.
Gilgamesh has just got his fists.
He's just got his fists, which, look, aesthetically, that's top tier for a movie. Dude. But practically, if you're out there with zombies, you hit their teeth, like that's it for you.
Gilgamesh is not only, he's not only punching people, but he's also snapping necks and he's putting their faces close to his body. If I'm a zombie, I'm biting. And like Gilgamesh got some meat on him, so I'll bite. But what happens is there's this part where the train is dark because they're going through a tunnel. And as soon as it comes out the tunnel and the light hits, they just all step in through and they're just like, let's do this. And they start running at the zombies. That scene, when you get into that part, I'm like, this is the movie. Yeah. This is the train to Busan.
That is exciting. And then they figure out that if there's no lights when they go through the tunnels,
then they start to, plan that, maybe just running at these people and like piecing them up is not the best idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, what a fantastic, those four carriages, it feels like the Raid. It feels if the Raid had zombies.
Yeah, because it's just, and you're looking at that and there's chairs. So there's only a small area where you can actually move freely. And then there's zombies climbing over the chairs and, oh man.
It's intense.
Yeah.
And it's like the way that, what I loved about the action was the way that they fight is not as if they know what they're doing. They're just going in there swinging and hoping.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get knocked back.
Well, Gilgamesh looks like he knows what he's doing.
Gilgamesh looks like he's beaten up some people before. And like Mans wears a blue suit and a scarf.
He wears a blue suit and a scarf, and that's all you need to know about him.
And that's one of his raps as well. He's like, I'm just going to put this scarf around my arm, hope it works.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, that's the initial rap. He's got layers.
He's got
layers. And I mean, beyond that point, it is just simply zombie magic. Just, people running, people screaming.
Zombie magic.
People fighting.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's they're doing different things, but realistically, it's just them fighting zombies and getting away from zombies. And then they meet up with their, Gilgamesh's wife, the daughter, and then a lady that was from the start or whatever, who's got separated from her sister or something. And then they're going through zombies and they're trying to go through, which, that's all. There's nothing to really talk about.
No.
It's just quality.
It's quality content.
That part. I'd say the next part of the movie is when they finally get to where the rest of the train survivors are. And, they're thinking they're not, the dude that's the COO, whatever that man's name.
Yeah.
He was saying, don't let him in. Like, they might be infected, don't let him in. And so they're fighting to get in, and movie is so tense.
They're in a carriage in between the zombies and in between the survivors.
Yeah. And Gilgamesh is there trying to hold the door.
Closed.
Also, I feel bad just saying this man's is Gilgamesh, but I'm going to butcher his actual name.
I mean, we'll say his name again.
Get his name up so I can
put some
remember
respect on his name.
Because as soon as I got the image of him cooking stuff in the outback in the middle of Australia, that's all I can think of.
Okay, so it's Ma Dong-seok, also known as Don Lee, but like, I'm going to call him Ma.
Ma Dong-seok. Don?
Ma Dong.
Ma Dong-seok.
But then they call him Don Lee.
Don Lee.
Dude, look at this dude, man. He's about as big as my torso.
Jeez.
Here's what you need to know about Ma Dong-seok and his like huge arms. I think that's what it says. He's 52 years of age, 1.78 meters.
He's 52 years of age?
He's shorter than us.
Jeez.
So he's
older than us as well.
But he's older, so he's got experience behind him.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to know what because I'm looking at all these movies. He's in a movie called The Roundup 2022, The Roundup No Way Out 2023, The Gangster, The Cop, and The Devil. Like, he's in movies where it looks like it's him fighting people.
I mean, that's where he's got his experience from.
That's where he's got his experience from. He's in a movie called Outlaws where he's walking around in like in a two-piece suit, just like looking like he's ready to crack a skull.
He's about to two-piece someone up.
He's got his open hand to slapping one person. Like, Ma, I'm gonna come see your movies.
My guy. Okay, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I don't want to just keep going
Saying
through.
No, I think that when this movie, and this is going back to the heartfelt stuff. So at the end of this movie, they get on the final train. It's the father, the COO, who's now turned into a zombie, and the
which he doesn't know that he's turned into a zombie.
So this is, and I mean, there's inconsistencies about how the zombies.
Yeah, there's two parts of this movie where things don't add up, right? And if Einstein was here, he'd probably tell us, but like he's not here. And
I still don't think he's dead though, because he was in Oppenheimer.
And they ain't closed that yet. The first part was, the I don't know, the crew that we're following has been exiled to another carriage. And the sister there's two sisters. One of them is now a zombie because she'd been eaten.
She's been eaten.
And then the other sister is there in the carriage of the survivors. And for some reason, she just opens the doors.
Because she's like, I want to be with my sister.
Which, I mean, I don't know what, but you're in flight, fight, or freeze. Or like Train to Busan.
I mean, yeah, really. Like if you're on the train to Busan, like you're flying. You're really flying because it was a speedy train.
It was a speed. Well, it looked speedy at least.
You're saying that people. I mean, you're the king of people make crazy decisions in a time of struggle.
Yeah.
And like now you're coming out and saying like, how's this person making a crazy decision?
No, that's what I'm saying. But it's flight, fight, or freeze, or Train to Busan.
That's right.
Exactly. I can understand that, but also, you're doing that. Anyway. It's flight, fight, or freeze, or Train to Busan.
Exactly.
Yeah, what more can you say?
The back end of this movie, the father then gets bitten, and it's just the daughter.
Which was so dumb as well.
He puts his hand in the man's mouth.
He puts his hand in the dude's mouth. He could have just, I don't know, he was having a whole conversation with the dude. He was standing at a point where there was an opening on the freight train.
Yeah.
Just push him over. Just like he's gone. He's done. He's no longer on the train to Busan.
He could have easily been done.
I'll leave him on the track to Busan.
Because he can still run there. Like, you're not really putting him out.
No.
He's going to
get a bit more exercise.
Yeah. And
also, dude pieced up his ankle and just kept running.
Who
the businessman,
yeah.
COO.
And he's not a guy that will piece up an ankle and keep running.
And the best part about the whole movie was him just absolutely throwing people under the train, if you will, to Busan.
Yeah.
At so many parts of this movie, he'd be like, hey, no, the coast is clear. And he just pushed the dude out. Dude is getting bitten by a zombie and he just dips out the other side.
He literally not only that man, but then he throws a woman later at a zombie.
Yeah, he did that 3 times because then he did it to the conductor. He gets helped by the conductor of the train, and then he just pulls him. He's getting eaten by zombies. Thanks, brother. I'm off.
I mean, that dude's not running fast. So like, if you're going to do anything, if it's like you or the world, like you got to go for you, right? You throw someone at the zombies, you're slowing them down. It's like, if you're getting attacked if you've got 2 heads, you're getting attacked by a bear. Whoever's running fast is getting out of there, right? Unfortunately, that's just what it is in this man's mind. And it's fight, flight, or freeze, or throw a person metaphorically under the train.
Under the train.
When the father turns, this is a part that I did not like.
Okay.
Well, not that I did not like. It's a part where I thought they're obviously going for like this is the heart of the movie.
Yeah.
The relationship between the father and the daughter is the heart of the movie. As the man is turning into a zombie, he runs away from his daughter and he says like, I got to leave you. I'm sorry. The daughter's like, please don't leave me. They've obviously bonded over this trauma.
I don't care that you gave me a Wii and I already had one. I'll play it.
And he runs to the back of this train and he's like, I'm going to jump off before I turn into a zombie because obviously I don't want to eat my daughter. As he's turning, his eyes are going blue. He's getting like veins. He starts thinking back on when the daughter was born.
Yeah.
And he's looking at her feet. He's looking at her face. He's like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And he's smiling as a zombie, right? He's smiling. And then he just jumps off.
See, you sit there and you laugh at that. And I'll sit there and I'll almost be in tears. Because I was like, man, this movie's so sad. It's so sad.
It is a sad ending
Yeah, it's a sad ending.
in theory, but in
Albert,
practice,
tell us more.
he won't speak to the Patreon after that. It's like you're not getting Albert for free.
No, you're getting out for free.
Yeah, we brought that dude back from Oppenheimer to here. Like, he was with Killians. The part that I find funny about it is because when he's like doing this goofy smile, like looking at his eyes are all blue and like his eyes are funny because they're zombified, and he's smiling like as a human being. The funny part of it is imagine if like being a zombie was actually pretty good, and that's just you just in euphoria the whole time. Like, hey man, I'm just thinking about the best moments in my life, and this dude's smiling. And then he jumps off the back of a train thinking like, nah, this, it can't be good for me. Jumps off the back of a train, kills himself. And you don't realize all these other zombies come up. He's like, brother, we've been trying to get you over to here, man. We're all in Barbados in our minds, dude. There's the pigs there. We're feeding them the sausages.
I don't think that's in Barbados.
That could be in Barbados. Where's the one where you like go up and there's like pigs?
No. I don't know if it's in, I think it's somewhere in the Pacific. I don't know where the Barbados is. I'm pretty sure Barbados is in the Caribbean.
Barbados just sounds like somewhere that you'd want to be.
But in this geopolitical climate, I mean, you might not.
I mean, especially with the seas rising.
Seas rising, bro.
Yeah.
I did like that the dude that was the businessman, the COO, he was there saying, hey, I just need to see my mum. Like, she'll know what to do.
Yeah.
That's something that, lower directors wouldn't do that. Lower directors would just, have him say something dumb and just get hit by a part of the train line.
You're saying that, it's almost a redeeming factor because
not a redeeming factor. It
humanizes the man.
That's right. It just shows, he did terrible things, and you're not going to be like, hey, I forgive you, bro. Like, eat me.
Yeah.
You can eat me now,
Stevie. Which one man lets another person eat him? Which again, I have
yeah. Oh, that's another issue. And it's just like, well, it's flight, fight, or freeze. Yeah. People were just doing, and like in real life, people would do things to better themselves over other people. And I do like how the daughter throughout the whole thing was, you should just help people. And I like that as a not a in your face message. It was just, hey, like if you can help them, you help them.
Well, I mean, it's and this is why I was saying, this is what the father could have became if he just stuck to his idea of we just do things for ourselves.
Yeah.
In this geopolitical climate, we just do things for ourselves.
And we can't do things for ourselves because we need to help our fellow person.
We need to help our fellow person, but also like...
Everyone look to your left right now.
But also like if you're in a zombie situation, okay, say me and you are on the train to Busan.
That's another thing where I was wrestling with in my mind.
How are you going to survive this?
If you're there surviving, realistically, if you have 50 people in a train and you sacrifice one of them to go to the zombies and they're distracted and then you all get to safety, realistically it's better than everyone just scrambling and like 15 heads dying.
Oh, that's you're doing the train.
Train. Do you
like? Do you go to Busan or like into that person over there?
Yeah. So that's the philosophical dilemma.
Yeah.
And if we had Socrates here, he might be on next week. He'd tell us what to do.
One thing that I got to say to Socrates and to you is you put me on that train, and we'll get into our review of this in a second, like the whole review. Like we'll talk to you about this movie. But if you put me on this train, one thing I'm looking for initially, this is my first look, there's always emergency exits. You get on, you tell conductor, hey, listen, conductor, I'm talking to you through the thing. What's going to happen is you stop that train, right? We get on the roof. We walk to the front carriage. Front carriage empty. Bang. We get in there. Can we take off the back ones?
I think they said something about that, but they couldn't decouple the train.
That's right. They couldn't decouple the train. But you get to the front, you just say, hey, zombies in the back. You know?
We got business at the front, we got zombies at the back.
That's right. So like, let's just stick the back somewhere else, and we're at the front, and we're laughing, and we're singing. It's high society.
And then it just turns into Snowpiercer. Yeah. And that's it.
And that's, and this is what it is.
That was also this movie was making me want to watch Snowpiercer again.
Yeah. Which is directed by the man who did Parasite.
Yes. I'm aware of that.
Yeah. That's why I had a debate with someone who was telling me this movie was made by the director of Parasite and Snowpiercer. And I said, I don't think it is.
And you,
Like, I
you
searched it
looked
up
them
and I
in
don't
the
think it
windows
is.
of their soul and you said, you're such a racist.
I said that to them. And then one of their arguments was, but the guy from Parasite is in this. And I was like, yeah. Like, just because Christopher Nolan like keeps Killians in all his movies doesn't mean like you're going to have this dude in all your movies. And I mean, he was fantastic.
Doesn't mean the mother. No, it doesn't.
What I want to get into is our ratings.
I rate this I was going to say 7.5. It's between a 7.5 and an 8.
Yeah,
And some people will say that's a 7.85.
you will stick with that. I think you're exactly on the ball with 7.5. I think that any action romp is a 7.5. You know, unless they're doing something out of this world. Like if you go watch The Raid
Or Plane.
or Plane, which I mean we probably rated a 7.5 as well.
I think I rated it like an 8. But you know, that movie was wild.
Yeah,
that was another movie it was a real thriller. I was just looking left, I was looking right.
I mean, you haven't been on Google in a while. Like there's thrilling stuff on there. Like you click on the thing, it's got a different artwork every day. You click on it, it's like, hey, you know.
See, I don't have that.
Einstein died
DuckDuckGo
today.
don't have that.
DuckDuckGo.
They just got duck.
Here's the thing that I want to know just about the train systems as well, and what you think about the train system specifically. That was Train to Busan, and this been the back catalogue.
Talk soon.